Pain. It's a sensation that everyone, at some point in their lives, experiences. From a scraped knee to a broken bone, from a headache to the deep ache of heartbreak, pain is a fundamental part of being human. It serves as a warning, a signal from our body to stop, to protect ourselves, to heal. But imagine a world where pain does not exist. Imagine living a life where you cannot feel the things that would normally tell you that something is wrong. When a bone breaks, when skin burns, when you're cut open. For most of us, the idea of being free from pain sounds almost liberating, like a superpower. Who wouldn't want to be immune to the excruciating agony that can sometimes define our lives? But there are people in the world who live with this condition, congenital insensitivity to pain. They were born without the ability to sense physical pain. They never experienced the sharp sting of a burn or the throbbing ache of a sprained ankle. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, in this video, we are going to uncover the darker side of this phenomenon. Because, while these individuals might seem to live in a state of freedom, the truth is far more complicated. The lack of pain, far from being a gift, can be a silent killer. The absence of the body's most crucial alarm system leads to injuries that go unnoticed. Infections that spread unchecked and permanent, debilitating damage to the body. Congenital insensitivity to pain, CIP, also known as congenital analgesia, is a rare genetic condition where an individual is born without the ability to sense physical pain. This condition arises due to mutations in genes, responsible for the transmission of pain signals to the brain. The most well-known mutation is in the SCN9A gene, which encodes for a sodium channel in the nerve cells. When these sodium channels are defective, they fail to transmit pain signals from the peripheral nerves to the brain. As a result, these individuals are entirely unaware of any injury or damage happening to their bodies. One of the most common characteristics of this condition is that the affected individual often doesn't realize they've been injured. They can break bones, cut themselves, burn their skin, or suffer internal trauma, and yet, they won't feel any of it. They will not experience the discomfort that would typically send a warning signal to others. And without that warning, they may continue with their daily lives, unaware of the harm they've inflicted on themselves. To the outside world, this might seem like a blessing. Imagine never having to feel the pain of a headache, the sting of a paper cut, or the agony of a sports injury. But the reality is far from ideal. Without pain, there's no limit to what can go wrong. A burn might become a festering wound. A broken bone might go unnoticed until it is healed incorrectly. Infections may spread without any outward signs, putting a person at risk for life-threatening consequences. Congenital insensitivity to pain is a rare condition, with only a few known cases around the world. It's a disorder that affects fewer than 50 people globally, making it one of the most mysterious conditions in the medical field. Before we dive into the lives of people living with this condition, let's first take a step back and understand how pain works in a typical body. Pain is more than just an unpleasant feeling. It's an essential function that protects us from harm and helps us heal. When you touch something hot, for example, pain signals are sent through your nervous system to your brain, alerting you to the danger, so that you can pull your hand away and prevent further injury. Pain is processed in the brain, but it originates in sensory nerve endings called nociceptors. These receptors are scattered throughout the skin, muscles, joints, and other tissues, and they respond to potentially harmful stimuli. When these receptors detect something damaging, like heat, pressure, or a sharp object, they send electrical signals through the spinal cord and up to the brain. The brain then processes these signals, identifying the location, type, and intensity of the pain. This is why we feel sharp pain from a cut, but more dull, throbbing pain from an injury like a sprain. The brain uses pain to guide our actions. It tells us when to stop, when to seek help, and when to rest. Without this system, we would be unaware of injuries, and we would fail to protect ourselves from further harm. Now, imagine if those pain signals never reach the brain. That's what life is like for individuals with congenital insensitivity to pain. The nociceptors are still functioning, but there's no way for the brain to interpret the signals. The result, a complete lack of pain sensation. While it may sound appealing to be free from pain, the truth is that the lack of pain can lead to devastating consequences. Without pain to protect them, people with congenital insensitivity to pain are vulnerable to a range of injuries and health problems. In many cases, they don't even realize they're hurt until it's too late. One of the most tragic consequences of this condition is the risk of unnoticed injuries. For example, a person with congenital insensitivity to pain might step on a nail and not feel it. They may continue walking, unaware that they've punctured their foot. This lack of awareness can result in infections, and in severe cases, sepsis, a life-threatening condition caused by the spread of infection throughout the body. Similarly, broken bones can go undetected for long periods of time. A person might fall, break a leg, and walk around on it, thinking nothing is wrong. Over time, this can lead to deformities or improper healing, leaving the individual with permanent disabilities. But physical injuries aren't the only concern. People with congenital insensitivity to pain also face heightened risks of developing chronic conditions. For example, because they don't feel pain, they may continue to engage in activities that cause wear and tear on their joints, leading to early onset arthritis. Similarly, they may ignore signs of internal damage or illness, such as abdominal pain, which would typically prompt someone else to seek medical attention. Beyond the physical toll, congenital insensitivity to pain also takes a significant psychological toll. Pain is not only a physical sensation, it's also a psychological one. Our experience of pain shapes how we interact with the world, how we relate to others, and how we understand our own bodies. For those who cannot feel pain, there is a profound disconnect between the body and the mind. The body sends signals, but the brain doesn't interpret them. This disconnect can lead to confusion, frustration, and anxiety. People with this condition are constantly at risk of harm, but they don't have the feedback they need to protect themselves. Some people with congenital insensitivity to pain report feelings of isolation. They can't relate to others when they complain of aches, pains, or injuries. They don't understand what it's like to experience the kind of pain that most people take for granted. It's as if they live in a separate reality, one where they don't have the same sense of their body's limitations. Moreover, some individuals with this condition develop coping mechanisms that make it difficult for them to form connections with others. The constant vigilance required to monitor their bodies can lead to heightened stress and anxiety. They live in fear of the next unnoticed injury, the next hidden danger that could cause irreparable harm. While many people with congenital insensitivity to pain might initially view their condition as a blessing, over time, they often realize that it is, in fact, a curse. They don't have the luxury of ignoring their injuries, because those injuries could be life-threatening. They live in constant danger, and the lack of pain can lead to permanent, irreversible damage. Some individuals with congenital insensitivity to pain even seek medical treatment to restore their ability to feel pain. They long for the warning signals that most of us take for granted. For them, pain is not just a sensation, it's a safeguard, a necessary function of the human experience. In recent years, scientists have made significant strides in understanding congenital insensitivity to pain. Genetic research has led to the identification of several mutations that cause the condition, and experimental treatments, such as gene therapy, are being explored as potential cures. However, restoring the ability to feel pain is not as simple as flipping a switch. The brain's pain pathways are complex, and restoring them involves not only fixing the genetic mutations but also retraining the brain to process pain signals correctly. In some cases, individuals who undergo treatments to restore pain sensation report intense emotional reactions. Finally, they can feel pain, but the experience is overwhelming and disorienting. Pain is an essential part of life. It's a message from our body that something is wrong, and it helps us take action to protect ourselves. For those who live without pain, life becomes a constant struggle, a battle to stay aware of the dangers that are invisible to them. Pain may be uncomfortable, but it's also a vital part of what makes us human. In the end, congenital insensitivity to pain is not the blessing it might appear to be. It's a condition that comes with severe consequences, from physical damage to psychological distress. Pain is not just something to avoid, it's a signal that keeps us alive, a reminder of our vulnerability and our strength.